On our stage now, this is just an all-star presentation for you. We have Grammy Award-winning Mr. Hopgood on piano, Grammy winner John Lee on bass, way over there in the corner, Carl Latham on drums. A little later, we'll be having Howard Paul on guitar. But the man we're here to hear is a longtime friend of the Savannah Jazz Festival. If you've been here before, you've seen this gentleman before, and you've always walked away knowing you just were treated to some fabulous jazz. Mr. Don Braden.
One, two, up. All the way down the piano. Hey, Savannah, what's up? Thank you guys for coming. Great to see you again. Thank you, WSAV, for the awesome media support and broadcasting. Honor to be here again. Yeah, so we opened up with a great Sam Jones tune. I have a brand new CD out. It came out in this past Friday, the 24th of September, digitally. It's called Chemistry. Thank you. Yep, just came out. It's my 23rd CD, 23. And so that's out, co-led by my colleague Yodas Tepa, and it features Jeff Tane Watts and Louis Hayes. Anyway, we played a tune from that album that we played Unit 7. So we can check that out if you're curious. It's on Spotify and all the digital outlets, and CD's coming in a month or two. And let me introduce you to the band one more time. How about it for Lawrence Hopgood on piano? Lawrence Hopgood. He's my new friend. We've played together a bit, but we were relatively new friends. But these guys are my long-term colleagues. I've known John a good 20 years or so, at least, a long time. Great bassist, John Lee. And my other good friend, for many years, we've toured all over the place, in Europe and in the States, and we have a band together called Big Funk. How about it for the great Carl Latham on drums? All right, we're going to move on now and play something else. This is an original song that I wrote. I wrote it in tribute to Eddie Harris. If you don't know who Eddie Harris is, your homework, after you listen to the tune, is to Google Eddie Harris and check him out. He's one of our great legends. And he had a couple of classic tunes, a bunch actually, Cold Duck Time and Freedom Jazz Dance are among those. So in this tune, if you know Eddie Harris's music, you're going to hear snippets and little hints of the Eddie Harris vibe. Okay, you'll hear perfect fourths, which he used a lot. You're going to hear the blues vibe. You're going to hear breaks. You're going to hear all this stuff. So if you're familiar with Eddie Harris, check it out. You can do some kind of resonance with us as you check out the sections. And if you're new, you're in for a treat. He's awesome. So here's my tribute to the great Eddie Harris. This is called Eddie-ish. 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 Whew. Now, I try, so you heard the beginnings of where it can go. Just check out Eddie Harris, you're in for a treat. And I really try to, all of us, we are who we are, right? But we stand on the shoulders of giants. And that's part of what this music is about. Obviously, individual expression, teamwork, communication, creativity, improvisation. Also, tradition and a sense of language. And so there are a lot of elements that go to that, but a chunk of that, from a saxophone perspective, Mr. Eddie Harris. So there you go with Eddie-ish. We're going to move on now and play something from our Earth, Wind, and Wonder repertoire. Speaking of now getting into our thing, right? So the classic cats, Miles Davises and Coltrane's and Louis Armstrong and all the, most of the greats really actually built a huge repertoire of language, jazz language, based on popular songs within which and upon which they expounded and extended their creativity. So songs like Stella by Starlight and Green Dolphin Street, and there's a ton of standards, we call them the American Songbook standards, that are based on popular show tunes and movies from the 30s and 40s. And those tunes are amazing tunes, and we all play those tunes all the time. So a lot of us, they'll also work with later tunes, which are also popular songs. So I've chosen Earth, Wind, and Fire and Stevie Wonder as my two kind of focal points in the last few years. So I have an album out called Earth, Wind, and Wonder. And you can probably figure out that Earth, Wind, and Wonder refers to two very popular groups, artists, that have produced a ton of songs which are very adaptable for jazz. With some all songs have their identity, and we want to adapt them for our jazz creativity, but we also want to have them stick with the tune in certain ways. So we find a balance, right, of extending and deconstructing and rebuilding the tune. So I got a few of those for you to play now. So here's one, and this is by Stevie Wonder, and this is Don't You Worry About a Thing. One, two, one, All right. Don't you worry about a thing. Thank you very much. Makes a great jazz tune, doesn't it? It's really fun as a jazz tune. So the next one from the Earth, Wind, and Wonder collection, this is John Lee. We had a rehearsal last week, and John was like, "You're not doing the Earth, Wind, and Fire?" Because we have Stevie tunes that we really easily do. And the Earth, Wind, and Fire ones, some of the, as you know, Earth, Wind, and Fire is very intricate music. But certain ones translate readily, and other ones I've arranged with some real attention. And so you can check out the record if you're curious, or some stuff on YouTube and whatever. You can hear some different versions. But this one, we can play it kind of straight, like a standard. So let's see what you think about this. This is another classic from Earth, Wind, and Fire. This is called After the Love Is Gone. Oh, there it is. Now it's there. Turn down some now. Probably a little less than that. Give me 20% less at least. There we go. All right, let's go. One. turn it off. Wow, another great jazz tune. Thank you, cats. I can't do this by myself. It's impossible. I got some energy, but now but I did. Lawrence Hopgood on keys, on piano. John Lee on the bass. Carl Latham. My partners, my co-conspirators. Yeah. So we're gonna move on and play something else from Earth, Wind and Wonder. And this is a tune. Pardon me. This tune was actually, I heard it the first time. I was on tour, and I was, as is my practice when I'm on the road, if I'm looking for a place to practice in a hotel, typically I'll go in a ballroom or in the office area where there's no one at night, right? So I might go at 1 in the morning and practice. And some hotels have music, or as we used to call it back in the whatever year that was, we used to call that word music. But it would be canned music or satellite or something that's coming over the speakers. And sometimes I practice with that music just for fun, right? So here I was in this hotel, whatever it was. It's just a Marriott as a sponsor. I guess we'll call it a Marriott hotel. And I was hearing this music, and I thought, wow, this sounds really hip. And it was Michael Jackson's voice. I've always been a big MJ fan since I was a kid, growing up in the 90s. And so I recognized his voice, but the song sounded way jazzier than anything I've heard from him. Turns out the tune, at that time I didn't have Shazam, which is what I do for everything now. I said, get Shazam, what is that? But I couldn't find, so I said, I Googled Michael Jackson jazz to see what came up. And eventually I found this tune, I Can't Help It, which is from the album Off the Wall. Had no idea what it was. I probably had the LP of it still, but didn't know the tune. So anyway, I researched it. Turns out Stevie Wonder wrote it. So that's why it sounds so hip. So this is now, not only is it a tune that I've adapted for my own adventures, so you can hear, if you know the tune, you'll recognize the Braden treatment, some different chords and whatnot. But the tune is a standard now. A lot of cats play this tune, so this is a great one. It's composed by Stevie Wonder and Suzanne Green, and from the Michael Jackson album Off the Wall, and also from my album, Earth, Wind and Wonder. We're gonna have Lawrence play a piano intro on this one. Remember, before we do the flute? And so I'm gonna get the flute out for this, and we're gonna do I Can't Help It. Actually, one more thing. I think this is a good one to invite up my good friends. So besides, and all my good friends here, I have one more really great friend. I only have 5 friends. You see 4 of them here. I'm not that friendly a guy, so I don't know anybody, as you can tell, right? This man, gosh, I must have met him through Carl. Carl knows everybody. So this guy, he knows everybody. I mean, everybody. So I'm going to invite up Howard Paul to join us on this one. He's a CEO of Benedetto Guitars. Watch your step, brother. CEO of Benedetto Guitars. And he's a great guitarist and a great friend. We've done lots of gigs together and had lots of long discussions about life and madness and stuff. He's great. Anyway, welcome Howard Paul. We're going to have Lawrence set this up. I'll get my flute and we'll do I Can't Help It. All right. How about it for Howard Paul sitting in with us? Howard Paul. All right. Yeah, I can't help it. Okay, we're going to squeeze in two shorties, I think. So we're going to do 10 minutes. You know what? Jive? Don't be jive. I think we're going to do the one, actually, to make sure we don't go over time. Let's do yesterday's. All right? So let me go do one more tune, just to make sure we don't go over time, because you know how we get excited, and the clock has a way of running, as we all know. So before we do our last tune, I want to thank Savannah Jazz Festival for having us. Paula and Howard and the whole team. These people are amazing, hardworking, smart people that really want to keep jazz and music going in Savannah. They deserve your support. They deserve your energy. They deserve your love because they have mine and they earned it. They're fantastic. They're really, you know, Savannah Jazz are some of the most serious folks I know about keeping music going. Thank you, Savannah Jazz. I want to thank Savannah Station. This venue is awesome under the circumstances. Thank you. I want to thank WSAV. Is that right? WSAV, is that right? Yep. Doing the broadcast, doing all the technical stuff. They're great. Make sure I got the call letters correct. And they're great folks. So and most importantly, of course, couldn't do it without my colleagues. One more time, Carl Latham on drums, the great Carl Latham. The wonderful Howard Paul on guitar. Lawrence Hobgood on piano and keyboard. And my great friend John Lee on the bass. All right, and I want to thank my saxophone company, Antigua, for great saxophones. As long as I'm giving shout outs. My mouthpiece, made right here in Savannah, Jody Jazz mouthpiece. Right here in Savannah. Great mouthpieces, and D'Addario for great reeds and ligatures. So I got hooked up by good people, so I appreciate that. And R.S. Berkeley for the flute. So even one more people to thank. So just give the thanks, as I'm very I have a lot of gratitude for all the support, the love, energy, and of course the biggest thank you of all to the fans. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you all for being here. We need the five of us, but we really need you. Really need you. You guys are the real heart and soul of why we do this. Is what jazz comes from. Jazz is about sharing with audience, right? So it's really about that experience of us all getting together, expressing, creating, communicating, sharing the love, and partying. All right? So this last tune is something from another recent CD. It's called In the Spirit of Herbie Hancock. Came out last year. And it turned out this tune is not a Herbie Hancock tune, but it's a live recording. We did all these Herbie Hancock tunes. And this tune we were like, well, the audience wanted more. We had prepared our tunes for the recording. We got one more tune. They really wanted more tunes. So we picked something we like to play. I'm sure Herbie has played this. So I send a shout out to Herbie Hancock for being awesome. And you can check out this album. This tune is on there. And it's a standard that we all know and love. It's called Yesterdays. So here's Yesterdays. Thank you again for listening.
Braden, Lawrence Hopgood, John Lee, Howard Paul, Carl Latham. And I would like you to also applaud Jody Espina and Jody Jazz, clarinet and saxophone mouthpieces for sponsoring this performance.